When you come into a relationship and you believe in the Lord Jesus Christ and you become into the family of the Lord, everything, every promise, every inheritance is yours. That does not change. But the relationship on your part can. He still loves you. He said, I will never leave you, never forsake you. I will always be there for you, right? But we can change. So when we are not putting forth in that relationship, God, he doesn't change. He's the same today, yesterday, today, and forever. He doesn't change because he's God, but we can change. So we can become unfulfilled. We can become just displaced in our own emotions because we're not drawing into the well of water that can fill us, because we are constantly either pulling back, being distracted, drawn away into something else that's taking place. We're putting more effort into whether it's watching television or hanging out with our friends or shopping or whatever. We're just putting more effort into it. It's the same thing as if you're married and you spend more time with your girlfriends, going out to dinner, going shopping, hanging out, taking trips all over the world, which we can do that. But if you're not nurturing your spouse or whomever it is that you're with, there's going to be a deficit in that relationship. So it's the same thing with the Lord. If you don't put in and do your part, you can't receive all that you have. Now you have it, but you're going to be lacking in here, in connection with the very thing that gives you life, because you're over here trying to get it fulfillment from something else. And that's why people say, you've heard people say, they have all the money in the world and they're not happy. There's something missing. So we have to go back to the source of our emotions, the source of our feeling, the being fulfilled. He is that source. And when we go looking for it somewhere else, we're neglecting the very thing that we need to be connected with. And all those other things are good, but not if they take place over God. They're not. So I don't lose faith in God, but I have been distracted. I have given my time to other things. So yes. And so I always want to go and say this. I don't want anybody to look at me like I'm perfect. People have a tendency to do that. They think, oh my gosh, she has arrived. She's doing this, she's doing that. Yes, I am. I am not perfect. The only perfect person is Jesus Christ. And I like for his perfection to shine through me. That's it. I'm human.
It's God allowing them to view you that way.
No, that's right. Yes, and I'm thankful for that. But I'm I'm saying that there are people that look up to people and think that they make no mistakes, that their life is different. And I'm saying that we're all human. And yes, I want people to see God through me, and thank you for that. But I want to make it very clear that I don't want people to ever feel like I don't make mistakes or that I always get it right. I want to free people in understanding that we all are still growing on whatever level we're on. We just have to continue moving wherever we are, on whatever level that we're on, to continue doing the best we can to go up. And there will be people that are before you that you do look up to, and that they will portray Christ. And I hope that I do that. But I also want people to understand that in looking up to other people, know that even those people that you look up to are not perfect. That's the point I'm trying to make, because we will go to church and we will look up to pastors or ordained ministers or people that are in higher positions, and we look up to them as if they are perfect in what they do and that their lives, they make no mistakes. And that's not true. Even pastors, ordained ministers, I mean, I'm ordained, been ordained 2 times over, but it doesn't, I'm still human. They are still human. And so we don't give those people the grace to be human and know that as you're looking up to them and you think that they make no mistakes, trust me, there's no perfect person other than Jesus, not including me in that. So look to people to find Christ in them, the level of Christ in them. That's what you look for. Do not mistake people for being something that they're not. They are just human. And what you see in them, hopefully, is Jesus Christ, like you said. And the level could be more of in some people because they seem that way, but they are still human. So when we see people that are pastors and they fall and they, churches fail, you give them that grace and you pray for them and know that they're just human.
So, what is the danger in relying on others to hear from God on your behalf versus seeking God for yourself?
Okay, so it's my belief that God will use people to confirm sometimes things that we hear from Him if we're seeking Him. If we're not seeking Him, then that person could just be telling you anything. And if you're hearing from someone, you probably should go back and make sure and get a confirmation from God. I think it's very dangerous. I know a lot of people are just running after people that say that they're prophetic. You know, I'm talking on the Christian side of people that understand what I'm talking about. You got a ton of people telling you that they're going to give you, they're going to give you a prophetic word, or they're giving you a prophetic word. They don't even tell you they're going to give you a prophetic word. And they just, I'm hearing from God for you. God said this, or the Lord said that. I would like to think that when people speak into my life, that they're confirming something that the Lord told me. I would hate to think that I don't hear from God where I got to have somebody else tell me, or that I'm not listening to God, that He has to send somebody to tell me whatever it is I need to hear because I'm not listening and obeying what He's trying to tell me. I would never want to think that my relationship is so out of whack with God that He has to send somebody to tell me something that He can tell me Himself. Or that I'm not listening to Him to where I can hear and receive what He has to say. So I'm very cautious about people speaking into my life. I'm very cautious about people telling me they have a prophetic word for me, or by hearing a prophetic word that might not confirm something that God has already told me. So in telling you what I said previously, now the danger of that is that you could actually miss God from hearing specifically what He has to say to you personally. There's a danger in listening to other people if you are not in a relationship with God personally, where you have learned to hear from Him. You could have someone that's coming along to be a distraction to you, or someone that is going to actually try to alter, meaning that the enemy will try to alter the vision that God is actually trying to give you by speaking into your life and telling you something that you shouldn't be doing. Case in point, I've had people tell me when the Lord has told me something that seems like really big, that I should, like home education. I knew God told me that I should homeschool my children. It wasn't something that I decided, certainly. I mean, I wasn't going to run around like, oh, yeah, let me pick up this illegal thing that I don't even know anything about. That was actually legal. But I had people that were connected to me, that family members that were very close and were my senior, that was like, no, that, they could not get with that, thinking that it wasn't the right thing to do. They didn't tell me that I wasn't hearing from God, but they told me every other thing that would make you think you weren't hearing from God if you weren't strong enough to believe that the Lord told you to do that. And so had I followed them, I would not have home educated my children. I would have put them in public school, which is the very thing that God was trying to keep my children out of. Because ultimately, when the Lord told me to home educate my children, He wanted them to have a godly foundation. And we knew that they couldn't get that in the public school because they had taken God out of school. So, and that was one of the firm things that He said to me, was He wanted to make sure that even in my home educating them, that they would be separated and that I would put the word in them very heavily. And so that's what we did. Had I listened to that, the danger would have been my children's life would have been altered in the things that He had called me to do for them, so that they could be in a position that when He called them to do specific things, that they would be trained and ready for that, whatever that is. So the danger is you could miss the very vision that God has for your life, the very plan that God has for your life. The danger is that you could miss learning how to distinguish the voice of the Lord over someone else's voice. The danger is that you could actually be partnering with the adversary and thinking that you're partnering with God. When God gives you a vision, a part of the plan that He has for you personally, if you are not sure that you're hearing from Him, then my caution, my word to you would be wait. There is no hurry. God is not going to miss telling you something that you need to know. He's not going to allow someone else to get in the way of the plan he has for you. We do that. If you just wait, if you just stop and don't move until you are actually assured, time is not of the essence when it comes to God. If you miss it the first year and just decide, I'm not going to do anything because I don't know if this is God or not, trust me, the second year won't be any worse because He's got the plan. It's not going to be altered. The only person that can alter that plan is you by stepping over into something else, by letting somebody else tell you not to do it, or by getting ahead of God on it. Even if he tells you something and you think and you know that it's him, you can still get ahead of him. I would just caution you to just wait. Just wait. He's not going to let you miss it. You'll feel a nudge, a push. You'll get something that will tell you that that you're going in the right direction. Don't let people lead you, you know. And if you're assured, I mean, that you're hearing from God, usually they will confirm to you. And if you're going in the wrong direction, let's say you're going in the wrong direction, you think God is leading you somewhere, and then someone comes along and tells you, sweetie, that I don't think that that's God. You might want to wait on that. Would it really hurt to wait and really seek God? So the goal is whether you're going in the right direction and you know it and someone tells you not to, or whether you're going in the wrong direction and someone comes along and tells you you're going in the wrong direction. Either way, waiting and seeking God is not going to hurt. He'll make it known to you. He will. Even if you're slow moving and that project should have started a year ago, he'll make it up on the back end. It's better to wait and make sure you're hearing from the Lord. He won't let you miss it. And you know what? So I always go back to God is God. He can do what he wants, how he wants. We never know how he's going to operate fully. You know, I've missed some things, but I've also come back around and the Lord has opened the door for me to do something that was very similar to what it was that I actually missed. So God is so vast in his thinking that when we try to think for him, I think we get in trouble. Because I never know. I mean, Moses missed going into the promised land. He had it was part of the plan. I mean, God has a plan for us. He does. But that plan was altered. Moses did not make it into the promised land. And of all people, I thought, wait, God, not Moses. You would actually keep him on the promised land. Moses was so good. Moses was so good, but so bad. Okay, so you know what I mean? He said, right. So he had a lot. But I mean, overall, you think of all of what he went through, all those people, but he missed it. He missed it. But he didn't miss God. Okay, so really, did he get the bad end of the stick? I mean, I guess it's perspective, is how you look at it. Would you rather go into the promised land, or I mean, he didn't miss God. And then you can say, well, was that really part of the plan? Was that really part of the plan?
Right.
Right? Did he ever say, God ever, it's like, was it really part of the plan?
Right. Because it's not a mistake.
We don't really know. And I love the fact that I always say that, boy, my life is like an adventure with God because I never know which way we're going fully.
Oh,
And I never know what's going to take place fully. So let me just say this now, and I know you know this, but for people that don't know this, with my husband passed away, we just talked about this yesterday. It's been about 6 months now. It doesn't seem like it's been that long because he passed away Halloween 2023. But um, after he passed away in October, we went through Thanksgiving without him, family, Christmas without him. And then in January, my anniversary would have been the 30th. So we would have been married 36 years had he lived. So from the time that he passed away, which we didn't know he was going to go in hospice, that was all a surprise. So I didn't know that. So I hadn't planned on doing anything that came after that. Okay. So from the time that he passed away and was buried in November, I ended up moving across country and landed in my new home on January the 29th, the day before our 36th anniversary. It was not in the plan at all. At least not the way that I could perceive it to be. Now I knew that God was leading me because I think in September he had told me that he had given me the scripture in Exodus about going before me to prepare the way. He was sending the angels before me to prepare the way. But I assumed, not knowing, that he was talking about me continually doing my coaching and he was preparing me for this, not knowing that he was actually preparing me to move across country after my husband passed away. So if we could just let him be God and we be his children and just let him lead us, you know. He had asked me one year, this is years ago, would I bungee jump with him? This sounds so crazy, but it's like, can you just run, jump, free fall with me? And I was like, what? You know, he's just like, let it go. Let it go. If you let it go and just free fall, I got you. And if I say move across country, just go. I got you. I'll prepare the way. And he did. He prepared the way. He opened every door, set me up completely. It was the easy, and I had moved. So from 2015, 2016, I moved over 5 times. So it was like once every year. And then one of those moves was after 6 months of moving into a place, we had to move out because my husband continually had strokes. And every time we moved into a new place, he had another stroke, a different kind of stroke, and we had to move out of that place because there were stairs or too many stairs or it wasn't conducive, couldn't get him in and out, house wasn't set up. We were just continually moving. Every move was stressful because I was dealing with his care and doing all the moving, putting things in storage, all of that. This last move across country, mind you, we moved in the city where we lived. This last move was across country, professional movers, setting everything up from the time we buried him in November. So we got November, December going through Christmas, and then January. So within 2 months, everything, it was the smoothest move I've had in my life. And I've moved several. Even before I married my husband, I traveled a lot and I moved. This was the smoothest move, and he orchestrated it. And not that he wasn't there with all the rest, but the stress, he just set everything up. House, everything, everything. So I'm just saying, we have all these plans, all these ideas of things that we want to do. And if we would just let God manage the plan that he has and we get on board with that, oh my goodness, you talk about fun, fun, fun. Seriously.
Fully persuaded.
Yeah. Yeah. Fully persuaded. Yeah. I am fully persuaded. I know what I see. I see Christ. I see him fully. I see the Lord operating in my life. And I am looking forward to more of this, more of the ease, the adventures, the the wonderful measures of his goodness pouring out over me as I continue in my relationship with him. You know, I'm 65 now. So if he could just I'm like, if you just give me 10 more years, 20 more years, what can I do with that? I mean, so even with you, I say to everybody, okay, if God just gives you 10 more years, what can you do in those 10 years? How many adventures can you have in those 10 years? And I'm talking adventures. I'm not talking about drudgery, getting up and going to work and woe is me. Oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to do. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real live adventures where you can actually experience something fun, you know, something good.
I don't think I hear many people speak from that perspective, that it's an adventure in Christ in that way.
It
I
is.
love that.
It really is. If we would just let him take the reins.
Right.
Do you remember the story in the Bible where the disciples got in the boat and the storm came?
Yes.
And okay, some people might not, but you can Google it. It's a great story. So they were crossing the water, and Jesus got in the boat, and the storm came, and Jesus was asleep. And the disciples were running around, oh my God, we're gonna die. It's like, this is the last day, and Jesus is asleep. And so they go in there and they're telling Jesus, Master, Master, wake up. We're gonna die. And Jesus wakes up and he's like, oh, ye of little faith. It's like, he's probably thinking, how could you think that you're going to die and you're with me? I mean, I am in control. I am the master here.
Exactly.
And you're screaming death. We're going to die. The storm is going to take us away. And he's like, seriously, I'm in control of the boat. Hey, guys, by the way, I'm in control of the storm. Watch this. Storm, cease, be still. Okay. I mean, it's like, that's the way our life is. He's like, stop stressing. Stop being overwhelmed. I got you.